Yeah.
Let's see it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm checking. It says waiting for me, but I just pressed go live.
There's usually a delay.
Yeah, like a 10-second thing. So, there we go.
It says it's live now.
Okay,
I
cool.
see. Okay, yay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, did someone
Alright.
tweet the link?
I did.
Perfect. Okay.
But you guys have more followers than me, so if you want to do
I was
that.
gonna say, let me
Chandler's like, let me come in here real quick.
Yeah.
I want people to come hang out with us.
All right. Do we want to wait a few minutes and let it, let people come in?
So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did someone tweet it?
I just retweeted it.
I retweeted.
I'm gonna give it another minute or so, and then we can start.
Yeah.
What is everybody drinking?
Oh my gosh, I didn't
Water.
drink.
I was gonna get wine, but I decided not to.
What? Same, I didn't know we were drinking.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm drinking peach, which is perfect.
It says it's having trouble connecting. That's what y'all said.
My cats are the worst. Confirmed.
Your cats are angels.
They were digging through the drawer of the other desk in here and not having it today.
So they're not angels.
No, but they're super cute. They are cute.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right. Hey everyone, it's Brody, and this is the August. I suck, sorry. This is the August live show for the New Release Book Club. We read House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. It's a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling. And if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, that would be phenomenal.
Hi, I'm Heather from Aphrodite Reads. This is my favorite new release of the year, so I'm pretty proud of it.
Carly?
Oh, is she frozen?
I think she's frozen. Okay.
Carly.
She just looks uncomfortable. I love it. Okay, well, I'll introduce myself in the meantime. I'm Chandler from the channel, Chandler Ainsley. So, yeah. I liked this book.
My name is Elle from Bookish Elle, and I also really love this book.
I'm just ready for Carly to say I hated it.
She says her connection isn't working.
Oh, no.
So, this always happens. My live shows always go wrong. Okay. So do we just want to go ahead and get started, and Carly can hop back in whenever everything gets settled over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. So, what were your expectations going into the book, and did it meet them? Did you know a lot about it going in, or did you just kind of go in blind like I did?
So I knew about it at the beginning of the year, and I saw that it was on NetGalley in February, and I requested it. But all I knew was that it was she's back. Okay.
There we go.
It was a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, and that's my favorite fairy tale, so I was hooked. And so I didn't really have any expectations.
I didn't have a ton of expectations going in. I mean, I saw 12 Dancing Princesses in the description on NetGalley, and I was like, yeah, we're going to read that. But I didn't actually read the synopsis very fully, and I don't for most of the books I read. So I didn't really have any strong expectations going in. But knowing that Heather liked it definitely affected my reading experience. I was like, am I actually going to enjoy this? Is her hype going to live up to my expectations? And I definitely, you know what, I like reading books that my friends enjoy, because I feel like it get like their reading tastes better and what they like in books better. And I feel like I really get Heather now that I read this book. So anyway, yes, it met my expectations because I didn't really have any. It was good.
Well, I went into it knowing that Heather had been shouting at me about it for 5 months now. And so I knew I would probably like it, but I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And I think it's because through Heather shouting, she never told me that it had some of the elements that it had. She was just like, it's a 12 Dancing Princess retelling, which isn't going to really catch my attention that much. But like the other aspects was what I really loved about it, like the paranormal and the stuff like that.
Yeah, same. I saw it on NetGalley, kind of like Chandler. I didn't read it all the way through, but even though I think it exceeded my expectations because I expected it to be dark, but I didn't expect it to be as dark as it ended up going and the things that happened. So I was happily surprised.
Mm-hmm. There was definitely a lot I didn't expect in there. Like I wasn't expecting all of like the own world mythology or like all of the like hardcore themes of like grief and healing and moving on and stuff. Like that was all really interesting and a lot more, I think, than what people were hyping it up to be, which, was just like a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, but like with the ocean. Let's see. What did you think about the world building, the way that it was done, and like I said, the own world mythology, the different cultures and stuff like that?
I guess I'll go first. Oh, sorry. So for me, I was really impressed and surprised that this was a debut novel. Like, I thought the world building was pretty solid, and especially for a standalone. Like, this really, I loved it. I liked the mythology behind it. I wasn't expecting that going in. I was like, oh, it's going to just be like, there's going to be princesses and it might be a little spooky, but I didn't expect the depth that it had. So I thought it was well done.
I think that's one of the aspects that I wish I would have known it. I think that's what made me really love it. I was like so shocked that a standalone had so much world building that made sense and created this mythology system that I wanted to learn so much more about, but I didn't feel like I was missing anything from it when it came to the story. And I just think it was like, I think that was probably my favorite part of the book was the mythology and the world building aspect.
And also the fact that it never sounded info dumping, like it all seemed like it just gradually we were getting information, but it didn't have that info dumpy feel to it.
That, and I think it can be difficult for an author, like in a debut novel or just in a novel in general, to decide, like, because it's their world and they've been in it for so long, like how much to share, how much to like keep to themselves. And I think everything was unveiled at the right time. And you're right, like it didn't feel info dumpy at all.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it being a debut novel because like the writing style was like, I really dug the writing style, and then just the way that things got revealed to us. I was super impressed with it. I didn't think it read like this sounds bad, but it didn't have like the problems that I usually find with debut novels, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, standalone fantasies have become, like I've realized this year, my absolute favorite thing because pretty much all of the standalone fantasies I've read, granted, I haven't read too many, but all of them are able to have all this world building and aspects that isn't dragged on like in a fantasy, for instance. And this is just a perfect example of that, where it's Erin A. Craig knew her world so well, and she knew what she wanted to say and how she wanted to say it, and it was in such a concise way. And like you said, it's not info dumpy or anything like that. And of course, I love the mythology aspects. And own-world mythologies are just so impressive to me. Like, even as a mythology lover, I could never imagine taking on the daunting task of creating my own mythology. Like, that just seems like such a crazy task for me. So I'm impressed when an author can do one so well and so seamlessly.
Yeah, for sure. I think, like I said, that was one of the things that I was most impressed by because it felt like this could be like a real culture's mythology, with like people like Rick Riordan who did like Percy Jackson, where you're taking from a real mythology, like a pre-existing one. It felt just as fleshed out, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking in the group chat a little bit about characters, the ones we loved and hated, and the fact that I wanted to kick the spooky little sister in the face. So, who's your favorite character? And like, did you find you could relate to them, or did you just enjoy them?
I think for me, this is going to sound bad. I think the characters weren't the weak part of this book to me, but that wasn't what kept me reading. So I don't think I have a favorite. None of them were like so strong. And I don't think that was necessarily the point of the story either. So it didn't bother me. But I know maybe for some people who are looking for, just deep characterization, this might not be the book for them. But I thought it was good, regardless of that.
Yeah, when I read that question, it kind of got me thinking like, yeah, there wasn't a character that I was like, oh, totally connect with them or really love that character. Yeah, I think it was more the plot that was pushing me along rather than individual characters.
I also don't think I have a favorite. I liked most of the characters. Like I really liked the main character, and I know like some people didn't, but I really liked the main character. I like Verity, even though she was creepy. I think I really enjoyed scenes with Camille, even though I didn't really like her. I enjoyed those scenes a lot because it was just like taking a break from some of the stuff and just showing kind of like sister drama kind of. And I don't know, I liked that, and I liked the conflict that all the different sisters put into it. But yeah, I don't think I have a favorite. But if I had to say least favorite, I have an answer for that.
Ooh.
T.
Spill the tea. Who is it?
I literally did not like the stepmom or the father ever.
The father is trash.
I hated the father.
Ooh.
I like how the Annalie kind of defends him too,
Yeah.
know, which I mean, I guess I get because that's kind of realistic. I will say, like, sorry, what?
I was gonna say I watched Barbie's 12 Dancing like probably like a week, like for the first time, like a week before I started reading the book. And their father is so beloved, and like, they all love him, and he is a good character. So I just assumed in this one that he would also be a very beloved, character. They love him, but like I thought I would love him too, but
Yeah.
no, I was kind of shocked by that.
I think it kind of makes sense though if you think about it, because I mean, there's like 12 of them, and how close can you be if you have 12 children? So I think that was sort of realistic. And also, I was going to say, Annalie as a character, while she didn't have like the strongest personality, I think she was an interesting like vehicle to explore different themes with. Like, I thought it was interesting how the way that she expressed her grief was so different than all of the other characters. And it got me thinking, like, if there were this many deaths in my family, like how would I handle this? Anyway.
Looking back, like, it's so strange because when you're reading, because like I think the biggest task with writing a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling is getting everybody confused. And I think Erin did a good job at making each of the characters have distinct personalities. But while I was reading, but looking back, none of them really stand out to me. I did like the comic relief of the triplets. That scene when they were comparing a dude's how they wanted a big mast. I was like, okay. We love that. And I also, although I'm sure we're gonna get into the romance, I think Annalie has a more liberated mind than other YA female main characters, maybe. Like, it's not like strictly on the page, but I feel like her inner thoughts with Cassia, she knew she wanted to get steamy for sure. And I liked that she was, they were able to joke about that. And I thought it was really funny. Oh, and Verity is my favorite character, by the way. I loved Verity's. Like, she was, I hate children, but I really just like wanted to like draw pictures with her and see what she came up with.
I'd be scared to be drawing with that child.
See, like as I was reading the book, I think I liked Fisher a lot for some reason, and then later, I liked Verity. But like looking back on it, I don't feel like I'm really attached to any of them. And like I wrote these questions a while ago, so I was obviously feeling some type of way. But someone in the chat said that they felt, that there was more world building than character building. And I agree with that. None of the characters really had time to be really fleshed out because, like they're all fucking dying. So
I agree. I didn't like Fisher from the beginning. I will say that.
Fisher was kind of boring.
I was suspicious of him from the very beginning. I was like, bro, what's going on? Heather knows because I texted her.
I feel like Cassius was way fishier than Fisher was. I don't know. I was so scared because I loved him and I was like, all right, if I'm about to shift the murderer, it's about to happen and I have no regrets. But
there's just something about like the trope of like a girl's guy best friend being angry when she starts talking to another guy that just literally drives me up the fucking wall. So I immediately hated him. As soon as they went out on that boat and they had that conversation, I was like, you're over to me. I don't like you.
That's valid.
okay, so sorry.
I was gonna say, I actually kind of liked the stepmom. I feel like that's kind of unpopular. Maybe I didn't like her, but I found myself hating her, but then sympathizing with her, then pitying her, and then being like, all right, you're whatever. But I really liked how complex she was. I liked how Erin A. Craig took the trope of the stepmom and kind of turned it on its head a little bit, where you didn't know what was happening. I changed my mind about that woman so many times while reading this book. So I really liked her.
There are so many times I truly felt sorry for her.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed how our main character wasn't cold towards her. She tried to help her through her pregnancy and stuff, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Even after that, the big reveal at the end. I just realized I didn't say this, but I should probably warn everyone, if you're watching, we're going to get into spoilers in this. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, then go finish the book and come back. Yeah. So we talked about the world building and the characters. What about the writing? Did we like the writing style? How did we, feel about that?
Yeah, I think she did a good job at making it very descriptive without being too flowery. That's like my main complaint in a lot of books, like finding that balance. But I really felt like I was in this like spooky, cold beach town. So I thought the writing was really good. And like I said, I think I caught myself multiple times reading this thinking, I'm surprised this is a debut. Like, this is actually really well done. There's a lot of authors who have a few books out and I read their writing and I'm like, how are you popular? Didn't feel that reading this. So
I love the writing a lot. I remember I got to page 15 and I texted Heather and I was like, oh my God, this quote that I just read was absolutely gorgeous. But like Chandler said, it wasn't too flowery. It was just it was just actually unique, gorgeous writing that was still part of the story and wasn't just like taking a break from the story to say some flowery things. It was part of the story. I think it was the line I really loved was when she first talked about like how the islands were created by the god and like why they were the way they were. That just really stuck out to me the first time. And I was like, wow, the writing is really good. And so I really enjoyed it. I wish I could have annotated it while I was reading, but it wasn't my copy that I was reading. But now that I have 2 copies, I'm down to reread it and annotate it because I thought it was that pretty.
The fairy shoes scene. That's when I was officially like, oh my God, I'm committed. Because that's my favorite scene of the Barbie movie, obviously, is when they all get the little shoes and the dresses. Like, every single time she described what they were wearing, I was just blown away. That is such, like, costume design and fantasy books are just such a niche of mine, and she gave it to me, and I was so giddy about it. I'm like, I want to cosplay all of these characters. Like, wow.
Yeah, I agree with Chandler. It really helped you like set the mood and imagine really where we were. And just the way she described the shoes and the dresses and the balls, like it really made you want to see it and attend one of these balls. So I really, really love the writing.
And like,
Wait.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
So I was just gonna say I did a Twitter thread like last week of like oddly specific things I love in books, and like descriptions of pretty dresses is the number one. And this book just like hit that for me so hard. I felt like I was reading like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which like I'll be honest, I gave it an extra star just for like the dress descriptions. And I kind of felt the same way about this one, where it's like, oh, you're talking about pretty clothes, like check,
Yeah.
that's me.
And it's like the way she can describe the balls and the allure of the balls further entices the reader, and so you yourself with the sisters are being manipulated and drawn in to the balls and everything, which distracts from the actual mischief that's going on, which further enhances the purpose of the entire book, which just, she really did that. I don't know. So good.
Someone said Fisher is a poor man's Gale, and I just
Not wrong. Not wrong.
No, except wait, did Gale die in the Hunger Games?
No.
Like in the last one?
He
Okay,
should've.
well,
he should have. He deserved it.
Wow. I mean,
We don't need any Gale apologists in here.
He got Gale lines, but not finished lines.
okay, so that's not the next question, but since we're on the topic of it, let's talk about the romance. And
What romance?
Exactly.
I mean, I thought it was going to be like an annoying love triangle thing because that's, you know, the thing that everyone goes for.
Yeah.
But like, I appreciated that they kind of like shied away from that, and was like, Fisher was like, oh no, you like him. I'm just going to go over here with your sister, which is kind of weird, but
I liked
I
the
like-
romance. I thought I didn't like that it was very like it didn't overpower the story. I liked that part, and that can kind of be a fault too because we didn't get a ton of romantic development. But I liked it, and I really liked Cassius as a character. So, and I think once the reveal of like who Cassius is and who he's been talking to kind of makes more sense to why he was so like into her and why he charmed her so quickly, maybe because he knew all about her already, which kind of creepy, but
it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of Edward Cullen vibes. You know, he knows her before.
we can't talk trash about Edward Cullen. Chandler's here.
he just learned about her, and then he wanted to meet her because of the things he had learned about her. So it can be creepy, but I liked them.
I love me a good insta love once in a while. Like,
Honestly, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
like, do I love it more than Slow Burn? Do I love it more than Hate to Love? Absolutely not. But because the plot was so good and it was like just perfection, I was like, I wouldn't want it to like, because if the romance was more detailed, it would have interfered with the plot. And like, you could argue that, well, the romance just shouldn't have been there in the first place, which I guess that's a fair point. But I thought they had a lot of chemistry. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. I'm obviously very biased, but I thought I loved he was just such a charmer, and I was like, okay, I can get down. It's fine. And that epilogue, I was so happy throughout that entire scene.
The epilogue was pretty cute. I thought Cassius was I thought it was, again, like, you were saying it wasn't overpowering, but I think it worked with the book because there was a lot going on. So although I didn't like love the romance, I did think they had their swoony moments, and it definitely left me smiling at places in the epilogue for sure.
That's where the Barbie movie comes through. Like, it's not in anything else. That's where you get the Barbie 12 Dancing Princesses, is in the really cute Disney-esque prince love interest. And I'm like, yeah.
I feel bad for this, but like I don't think I really needed the epilogue. Like I would have been okay. I'm sorry. But-
I kind of agree with that. I don't like the route she took. Can we get spoilery for a second?
Yeah.
Like either keep him dead or don't kill him off in the first place. I fucking hate that like so much. I know it's a fairy tale, but like that's so irritating to me.
Well, I just felt like with like the tone that the entire book had, you know, there wasn't really anything that was like the bright moment or whatever. And I don't like whenever things just kind of get like wrapped up nice and neat at the end. I prefer something that's a little more logical, I guess, as logical as a book like this can be. You know.
Someone pointed out too in the chat that the epilogue made the death feel inconsequential, which is true because one of the themes here is that people aren't coming back from the dead. They just die and there's sometimes no reason for it. So it did seem a little strange. And I know like he's not completely human or whatever, but that was irritating. I didn't say how I feel about the romance. I liked it. And I think the reason I liked it and was able to overlook the lack of development was because I was having to remind myself a couple of times while reading that this is a fairy tale retelling.
Right.
How many of the princes do we really know a ton about? Like none of them. You know, you watch a Disney movie, like we know so much about Ariel and like Belle and stuff, but we don't know shit about the male characters beyond just like what they're going to do for her. So
Right.
I guess reading it, I was able to like temper my expectations and my disappointment in that regard a little bit. Cause like I read books for romance, let's be real.
Right.
But it didn't bother me too much. Yeah.
I think I could have done without the epilogue. I was like happy with it. I did not expect, when I went into the epilogue, I did not expect it to be about Cassius at all. I expected to just see Annalie and like see her maybe mention, oh, I still no sign of Cassius if he's coming back, but maybe he's still like with the stars or whatever. I expected something like kind of ambiguous like that, but I didn't. I will admit, when I read it, I was like, oh my God.
Same.
So,
I liked it when I first read it.
it made me feel like my old high school self reading old YA when like I loved when they got together, whether it was cliche or not. I was like, oh my God.
You mean like that, like Fallen or like Vampire Academy and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get back on track with like the questions because I'm a Virgo and it's Virgo season and I'm very, you know. So the book starts like after 4 sisters have died, I think. I'm bad with math. So do you think it took away from like the theme of grief to have it be 4 sisters in, or are you okay with like not showing the first 3, not showing the mourning and stuff like that?
I think it made sense, right? Because not all of them died due to like magical reasons, correct? And you find that out later. So I think in the end, it kind of makes sense that we didn't get the beginning of it. And I think it would have been not boring, but kind of like, I think it's more interesting to explore the idea of like, how do you handle your grief if so many people in your family are dying? Are you supposed to not live your life anymore? Had we gotten it from the very start, I don't think it would have been as compelling.
I liked how we started out the book. First of all, one of my favorite things of any media trope is starting out a book with a funeral or any kind of TV show, movie, anything. It's just like, I don't know, it just sets a tone that I love. But I think because she had already built up so much grief, that was such a good place to start the book because, like I said, I think it set a tone. But I think I was a little throughout it. I was like, oh, I wish we could have seen that because the whole time I was like, they definitely died from magic. Like there's definitely some kind of curse. Like they're definitely ghosts. And then when I found out what really was happening, I was like, oh, that makes more sense that it didn't show it because it just wouldn't have, I don't think the story would have moved right if it did. But.
Yeah, and it's also, we have to start after all these sisters have died, because if we didn't, there wouldn't be that tension, and there wouldn't be those rumors of a curse. There wouldn't be this like, oh, who's going to be next? The last line of the first chapter is which one of us would be next, and
Right.
you're like, okay, let's go. Like, we're doing this right now. So if we did all of the sisters one by one, there wouldn't be that sense of high stakes. It would just be depressing, which, I mean, it still is, but, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just would have dragged it out to have each death seeing all of the previous sisters. And again, it makes sense since nothing really started until Eulalie. Hers was the first death that was part of what was going on.
And I think it was definitely the most suspicious death. Sorry if you can hear the train in the background. I think Eulalie's death was the most suspicious out of all of them. Like, one just fell from a ladder. One, I think she was like mentally
Plague, accident, suicide, and fell from a cliff.
jumping, falling off a cliff when people had literally seen her like be totally okay, and like someone literally claimed to have been meeting her to run away together. Like, it was just a very suspicious death. And I think, I mean, obviously, so I think that was like the perfect place to start.
Oh, speaking of, what did we think of Edgar? I know we didn't get to see too much of him.
I felt bad for him,
Same.
especially the way Camille treated him. I really did not like Camille in that scene because it's like, really? How about you get off your high horse for a second? Yeah, so I felt really bad for him.
I would love to have like a prequel novella about Eulalie and Edgar.
Mm.
Because I think that the trope of like the girl who's obsessed with materialism and stuff like that, and like being a princess, falling in love with a just humble clockmaker is so fucking cute. And I would literally like be like, please give me a novella about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I cared more about his death than Fisher's. So
Fair. He's just because he was blonde.
maybe so.
Do blondes deserve rights? Be honest.
Only Matthias and Nikolai.
Blonde men.
Not me, Heather.
No. That's this.
I'm
You
not,
dyed your hair.
I'm not even a natural blonde, so I'll take it.
Oh.
Okay, so moving off from that, there are a lot of instances in the book where, you know, stuff like mental health and grief and, you know, the revenge plot and Annalie's like apparent descent into madness are discussed. How do you feel like the book handled these like sensitive topics? And what would you say to readers going into it that, you know, may struggle with these things? Like, do you think this is a book that handled these things in a respectful manner?
I think grief was handled very well. I think it's a very realistic depiction of grief where everybody is different, and then you're at a difficult position when you feel a certain way, but those around you who experience that feeling as well is maybe feeling different than you, and you have to grapple with that. Other than that, I mean, like the whole madness thing, that's a big like mythology thing. I can't speak to that, but I wouldn't say that's
If someone
sensitively, but
if someone asked me like what to watch out for in the book, I would definitely be like the discussion of other people's mental health and like questioning if they're like sane or not. Tons of gaslighting, tons of it, whether it's ethical or not. That book was complete like gaslighting over and over again. And I mean, obviously there's a ton of family death. And I do think the grief was handled really well. I maybe not in a like way that is like it just explored a lot of different kinds of grief. So like
I agree. It wasn't like a how-to on like the best way to grieve. It was just, this is how different people handle things. And some people you're you have this visceral reaction like, I can't believe you're already over this. And then you also sort of understand where they're coming from, you know? It's like you've had to deal with so much, and are you just supposed to live in fear and or sadness all the time? I don't know. I thought it was done pretty well.
Oh, also bad pregnancy. That was a big one where I know that could be a huge thing for people. So I wanted to make, because that's a pretty big thing, and like the whole birth scene was that was a bit graphic.
It was intense.
And the freaking bathtub scene, that one, I was like, oh, that made me nervous because I can get like claustrophobic. So that was like, ooh. But I don't know if I'm the best.
Wasn't Annalie trapped in like a glass case for a while?
The
In the
solarium.
conservatory.
Oh, yeah. Something like that.
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about that. Ooh. Yeah.
That was my favorite
really
scene.
nervous because she was just like yelling and clawing at it for like hours.
Oh,
and so like she literally fell asleep trying to get out, and then woke up the next morning and someone had found her, I think. Something like that. I read this a long time ago.
Okay, so I know we were talking earlier about like the prequel ideas and the novellas and stuff, but would you like honestly be interested in seeing more from Aaron in this world, like a sequel or books centered around like the other kingdoms and like other mythologies, or are you fine with it being a standalone?
Don't
I'm
touch
happy with the standalone. Yeah, I think it's good the way it is. I will say though, I felt like towards the end it could have possibly gone, because who was the surviving triplet who was going to go and explore the rest of the islands, I think. So I think personally it's great as a standalone, but we could possibly follow that triplet as she's going on her own to kind of explore the rest of the islands.
I could definitely think of like a ton of spin-offs, whether it's with the mythology stuff, with the other sisters, anything like that. I don't think in the story, like the one we're doing with now, needs to continue, but I think spin-offs in the same world would be very interesting. I don't like have to have them, and if Erin chooses not to write in this world, I plan on reading the next book she puts out anyway. But I think if she did decide to, I would definitely be excited for it.
I would rather have cameos. I think that would be. I mean, I love a cameo regardless. But I think that could be really cool. But I just, it's so good. I feel like the only thing I would be okay, or not okay, because I would be excited either way, like Carly said. Because I know she would do it great. But I think prequels would be okay. But any like sequel or spin-off, I would be very cautious of, because there's just room for it to not end as well. Like I would rather like, don't, if it's not broken, don't fix it, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see her tackle like other fairy tales. I think that would be interesting. I don't want her to try to like make this world into something that it's not, but I think she does a really cool job at reimagining things but keeping it true to like the classic story. So seeing a different retelling I think would be really cool.
I think it was Carly's video that I commented on, because she did like the reading vlog, like reading her best friend Heather, favorite book. And I said I would be okay with like another fairy tale retelling, like in this world, not like, about Annalie and her family or anything, but like what was the desert inspired place
That could be interesting.
called like Lambent or something. I was like, give me a spinoff that's like House of Sand and Sunbeams or something.
In
Like-
my video, I talked about the spinoff I had from, they talk about the love goddess or the beauty goddess in that world, and she sneaks into opera houses. That was another thing I love about the mythology. I loved how tangible the gods and goddesses were. They weren't something that we just knew they believed in. They were something that were actually there. And so the goddess of love and beauty in that world sneaks into opera houses and finds new muses and stuff like that. And I would just love a romance around that one sentence. I think it would be so cute, and like it would just continue the world without the same characters. And I just really love the world, and I think it could like birth a lot of stories. And that could even be a retelling. It could be Cinderella.
I don't necessarily want this to become like a Shadowhunters thing where it's like we have like 6 series set in like the same universe, or like how Lee Bardugo does like the Grisha series. Like I just think it would be interesting to see what else she could do with this mythology, because like I want to know about like the other gods and goddesses and stuff like that. So we're about 40 minutes in. Is there anything else that we wanted to discuss about the book before we do like our final ratings and wrap up?
I did want to mention, as much praise as I give this book, I think it's absolute. I don't know if I can cuss on this channel, so I'm not.
Yeah, you can cuss.
It's absolute bullshit that there's 0 diversity in this book. Like, zero. And I'm like, come on, baby. 2019. Like,
especially in a fantasy, I think it's so piss poor, because I mean, there's the cop out of like, I don't want to write diversely because like I don't know that experience or whatever, but like it takes 0 effort to be like, this person's Black. Like,
yeah, you don't have to do any commentary, and like especially because they went to all these different balls, and like all of these, like you can't even make the excuse that only white people are on this island. I'm like,
none of those.
Right.
I think about it, like none of those, even those suitors that were all like having a competition for.
That's what I was thinking.
Marriage, like they're all from different places, and none of them were described as anything but white. So.
And the stepmom, well, okay, that would have been tricky territory. But like, because she comes from a sand climate, she could have easily been like Middle Eastern-esque or something like that. I mean, she would have to be careful about, not villainizing or anything like that. But like, that's just one example. It's like,
yeah, and we didn't even see like a speck of different sexualities, and that could have probably been done with the sisters, like at the balls.
Melvin,
Many of them.
One of the sisters could have easily danced with a girl or expressed interest in dancing with a girl. That would have just been so easy.
Yeah.
To do.
Well, you know what they say, it's 1 in 10 and there were 12, so.
They're all dead. It's the
Kill your gays trope.
It's the gays die first trope.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the only critique I really have of this book, but it's a pretty big one. I thought that was absolutely crazy to me. I didn't even think authors wrote like that anymore. It was, but I don't mean to end on a sour note.
Oh no, it's totally valid though, because it's like most of the time people talk about diversity and they make it out to sound like it needs to be like some big social commentary, but it's like Chandler said, like it takes 0 effort to say like, oh, and this character is Black, or like Carly said, like have one of the sisters dance with another girl. Like it's not, a sour note. It's just tea.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised an editor didn't point it out, because it would be something so easy to change.
I agree. Yeah, that is strange. But I guess let's end on a good note and do our final thoughts and ratings.
Yeah.
I'll start out by saying I gave it 5 stars because I was so entranced with the story, and I literally didn't want to put it down. And it had like every aspect I gravitate towards when I read synopses, like paranormal, mythology, retellings, stuff like that. So I just felt like I was back in high school reading like old YA, and so I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah, I also gave it a 5 stars. The atmosphere was great. I also like that it tackled a different fairy tale that we haven't seen a lot in YA. It wasn't a Beauty and the Beast retelling, so I really enjoyed that aspect, and just the plot was great.
I gave it 5 out of 5 stars.
Shocking.
Surprise.
I just I said multiple times, this is honestly just like the perfect book for me. If I wrote a book, I would want it to look like this. It's just It's so well put together. It blew my mind so many times. Like chapter 36, like where Annalie is like going mad, and like
Mhm.
I was like, I didn't even believe what was happening. I was like, okay, I don't understand what's happening. And like Carly said, it just, you turn the page and the aesthetics and the atmosphere. It's set by the sea. It's a bunch of pretty ladies in pretty dresses. I'm like, how? It's got mythology and gods. Nothing.
What did you rate it, Brody?
I'm gonna say like I don't give decimal points, but if I have to, I'm gonna say like a 3.75, just because it did hit a lot of high points for me with like own world mythology, like the pretty dresses. It's set by the ocean, and we all know that I'm like a slut for like marine stuff. I just felt like it could have been taken to like 11 where I wanted it to go, and I feel like it was only at 11 whenever Annalise started to like spiral into madness. Like I kind of wanted that level of intensity throughout the whole thing, because it didn't feel very high stakes to me, but I did enjoy it. Like I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that there were things that I think could have been done a little bit better.
I gave it 4 stars. I really, really liked it, but I think what was holding me back from 5 stars was the ending, not with the relationship, but with the resolution of like who done it and kind of the reasoning behind it. I mean, I understood it. Like I said, it felt very much like a typical fairy tale. There doesn't have to be this like complexity to the ending, but to me, it kind of, we had all this build up and it just didn't feel as impressive as I wanted it to. So that it made me sad because I was like, oh, I love this book. And then it kind of just tapered off in a way that I was like, really? Like, that's it? I thought the villain would be someone like completely different. I don't know. So that was the only thing that like kind of hindered my enjoyment. But otherwise, like, I really enjoyed it and I can't wait to read more from her. Like, I'm just so excited.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys a chance since you're on my channel. Do you have anything you want to plug? Any readathons or book clubs, or anything you're excited for coming up?
Me and Heather are starting our new book club this September. It's called the Cover Whores Book Club. It's basically reading books with covers that we love, and we don't really know much about the books because we both buy based on cover. So our first book in September is The Hazelwood. We chose that one because, one, we think the cover is absolutely gorgeous, and two, it's been talked about on BookTube a lot, but I don't think a lot of people have actually read it because of the mixed reviews. So here's your chance. But yeah, we're excited.
Yeah.
The live show and stuff announcement will be on our Twitter, which is Cover Whores BC.
Yeah, and also you guys should follow us on Instagram because we are going to do a lot with Bookstagrammers because the whole thing is like in the covers. Yeah, we wanna feature a lot of Bookstagrammers on our Instagram page. So yeah, do that. That's pretty much it.
I don't have anything to plug, so Chandler, you.
So much stuff is coming. The one thing I'm like super excited about isn't like a book club or anything, but I have this video coming out where I might be reading like some throwback like Mean Girl books, like Gossip Girl, The Clique. Like I'm doing a whole video on that. I'm so excited about it. So like stay tuned. Like come to my channel. Have a great time. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Chandler, you are like Blair. I don't know. Every time I look at Chandler, like, I see Blair.
I'm so excited to make the thumbnail for this. Like, I'm gonna be just decked out.
I'm excited to see that.
I'm gonna plug my channel because I didn't get to say that in the beginning.
Oh,
my username is Carly's Books. I'm over there. I do things.
She just did her whole new filming setup at her apartment, and it's so cute. So y'all need to go and check her out. So cute.
She's definitely like an auto watch booktuber for me. So you've got my official recommendation.
We love you.
and this should go without saying, but I want everyone to go subscribe to you guys because I love all of your channels, and I think you all bring something really different to the community. And yeah, I know that some of us are closer and then some of us are more up there, but I want to spread like all the love because I think you're all fantastic. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have had you on here. So
Obviously, I love Brody because this is my second time doing this book club. So I love doing things with Brody. So I really recommend Brody's channel too.
Yes.
Yes.
Literally, Brody posts like the best discussion videos. Like I literally like sent someone to watch your discussion video the other day about like authors and like assuming sexualities and stuff like that because I just love that one so much. Ugh, so intelligent.
Valid.
Also, Native American booktuber. Like,
Right.
come on.
those are two of my videos that I'm the most proud of, like the discussing the own voices thing and then the native Q&A. Like I think those are two that I'm the most happy with.
Such an underappreciated and represented community in this country and just social media in general. So super important.
Totally agree. And they also have like super fun content too. I was just thinking about the fuck, marry, kill video that made my boyfriend literally bust out laughing. He was like, "Someone's calling me daddy." So he was here for it, and I was too.
I got so many people replying to that tweet to be in, so there is a part 2 coming soon.
Yes.
So,
Whatever.
Yes.
I'm not salty about it. It's fine. I would kill you too.
I was fucked. So I liked it. I literally
All right.
almost texted Heather and bragged. I was like, "Ha!" I would have it, but
It's because of your sad mood. God. She really pops out.
All right, so I just want to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Everyone who came in, tuned in, and was in the chat. I didn't get to read a lot of the chat, but I was like going through it here and there. Thank you for watching, and like I said, thank you guys for joining me. Next month's book, I've announced it already over on Twitter, but it's going to be The Babysitter's Coven by Kay Williams, I think. And I'm still looking for like one more host. We have a couple already, so if you're interested, just like DM me on my Twitter or on the Release Book Club Twitter. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I will, see you guys next month with another live show. Bye.
Bye.
I'm so awkward. I'm sorry.
we're still live.
I know. There we go.
That Babysitter's Coven cover just